just like you guys, we are constantly being bombarded, with two schools of thought. The first being, if the workplace survives, what's it going to look like? Is it going to be smaller? And I want to pause on the first part of that statement really quickly and just say that, we fully believe that, yes, the workplace will survive. Human beings are social creatures. We crave that interaction with each other. I think all of us are experiencing that, and very thankful for a little bit of FaceTime here today. But also studies show us that the work that we produce is the majority of it is team-based. So we have both that instinctual and a practical need to reconnect and return to the workplace. Of course, it probably is going to look very different. The other school of thought is, in fact, that it might be much, much larger. Go figure, huh? This is mostly in the response to social distancing, physical distancing, if you will. If we are in a position where we need to allow for more square footage for each user, obviously those gathering spaces, the meeting spaces are going to get larger. We may even see a resurgence in the need for a private office so that people have that individualized control of their space. Mark mentioned this at the start of the conversation today. This move would essentially undo much of the densification that we've experienced over the last several years. But, because design is so responsive to the end users and we work so closely with various organizations, this is going to be interpreted a lot of different ways. And in fact, both of these schools of thought may prove themselves to be true. And in essence, cancel one another out when we think about the impact of rentable square feet. I think our role, as designers is now more than ever that we need to listen very intently to the concerns and the new and evolving needs of our owners so that our spaces can respond to that accordingly. We also heard a few people speak to some of the immediate transitions that we should be prepared for. I don't need to spend a ton of time on that. You guys are familiar. It's upgraded HVAC systems, integration of technology. I think someone touched on this briefly. We're going to expect to see a lot more monitors in the workplace. This is going to make it easy for those that choose to continue working from home to easily connect with one another. One thing that I don't think has been mentioned is potentially the integration of voice activation. This is going to reduce those high touch surfaces. Think about elevator buttons and doorknobs. If there's a way voice activation can help eliminate those touch points, it'll benefit all of us. Definitely going to see more stringent cleaning policies and transparency around those policies. Expect people to want to know what you're using to clean the space and how often you're doing it. You're going to see fewer conference chairs in your existing conference rooms so that we can distance appropriately. You're probably going to see your desks reconfigured with maybe even the resurgence of a panel system. So each of those items is a really great way to help us transition in the immediate future and give ourselves some space to brainstorm a more long-term solution and what this is going to look like in the future. At RDG, we're collaborating with our healthcare designers and our healthcare clients alike to identify some best practices that are working in those environments that might be applicable to workplace. For example, we're studying material selections. We're looking at space planning strategies, circulation flows through space, even considering a lobby-free model of a workplace. Some of you may have experienced in recent clinic visits that the healthcare industry is eliminating the waiting room as a way to slow down germ transfer. So that's something that we could easily apply to the workplace. But I think most importantly, we're really looking at this new perception of comfort with our end users. Ultimately, it's going to affect the way a space looks and feels, which is, my main role on a project. So we're very interested in that. You've all seen in recent years this surgence of residential themes in the workplace, right? We've got those tactile surfaces, really textural wall panels, soft plush seating, things like this that make it feel warm and engaging. And a month ago, we loved it. It was the best thing that happened. But with the insights that we have now, I would expect there to be some more caution around those types of selections. We're probably going to see a more functional need for the hard, shiny surfaces, right? Those things that evoke a feeling of cleanliness with our users. And if we do that as designers, we're really going to be challenged to make sure that those performance characteristics don't infringe on the aesthetic of the space. We don't want to create a bunch of office buildings that feel cold and sterile. So there's a lot for us to consider as we look at this, and we're definitely considering both those immediate tangible fixes that we can utilize hopefully in the coming weeks and months, and then again long-term strategies for what this office might look like a year from now or 3 years from now.